Right then, lads and lasses, how we doing, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day today on what is a bank holiday Monday. So if you are off work or you're off school, I know some people actually are at work, so I do feel sorry for you, honestly I do. But look, you're having a nice little rest day yourself and you're watching a Jody Josh video. Does it get any better than that? Now look, I am joking, but it's absolutely fantastic to have you all back on the channel. And speaking of fantastic, that's exactly the calibre of news that we have been given today. Newcastle United starman Alexander Isak is set to be handed a new contract at Newcastle United, and of course he's actually set to agree it as well. Absolute music to our ears. We've got news on all of the speculation around the contract, what actual details are in it. Of course he's going to get a wage rise, as he should, with all this transfer speculation. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if a team was to come in for Alexander Isak, how much would he cost them? We'll speak about that later in the video, and why I personally think he is the best striker in the world. So without further ado, if you do enjoy this video, hit that like button, and of course if you are new around here, subscribe and get them notification bells turned on. Without further ado, let's take a look at this contract. So yes, lads and lasses, it's been reported by Telegraph Football and Luke Edwards, who are very reliable, that Alexander Isak is set to be handed and agreed on a new contract at Tyneside. Now some people, before we even get into the details of the contract, will say, well, he's got 4 years left on his contract at Newcastle United. Why on earth is he going to sign a new one? Well, let's be real. Not only is he on £120,000 per week, which of course to us is an absolute extortionate amount of money, but in the footballing world, with your top strikers, which Alexander Isak is, that's not a lot of money. Your likes of Erling Haaland, who he's certainly up there with, by the way, arguably your Kylian Mbappe's as well. This guy is absolutely lethal in front of goal and is certainly one of the best strikers in the world, in my opinion. I'll put my bias hat back on. He is the best striker in the world. Honestly, his dribbling, his technique, his composure in front of goal, his clinicalness, this guy's absolutely fantastic. But look, we'll take a look at the details of this contract. It's not exactly a lot of information, but the information that we have been given is that, of course, it's not going to be a very long one, as he has got 4 years left on his contract at Newcastle United. But he will be given a wage rise, as he should as well, only on 120 grand a week, which sounds mental saying that, but in this footballing world where there's so much competition for this in-demand and in-form Swedish striker, it's not a lot. But look, he's going to move alongside the top earners at Newcastle United with Bruno Guimaraes, who's reportedly on £160,000 per week. There's only 2 players more currently at Newcastle United that actually earn more than Alexander Isak at this moment in time. That is Bruno G, like we just said, on 160 grand a week, and Joe Linton, reportedly, this hasn't been disclosed yet, on £140,000 per week. That's of course when he signed his new deal at Newcastle United not so long ago, which was absolutely fantastic news. But look, Alexander Isak, a wage rise, he certainly deserves it. And Newcastle United have also made it clear that he's not for sale. These clubs like Arsenal, your Man City, especially Arsenal, by the way, oh my god, they are absolutely fanatical about Alexander Isak. I don't know if it's because he's kind of like Thierry Henry, he wears the number 14, but they are absolutely crazy. They're going on like he's actually their striker right now. But look, Newcastle have said he's not for sale, even with being so restricted by financial fair play and PSR regulations. This man is going nowhere. And actually, when you take it into context, we've never been in this position before. If we sell Alexander Isak, of course, we'll evaluate him later, how much you think he's worth and how much I think we could sell him for. I don't want to, but if we were to sell him, how much we actually would get money for him. Now, if we were to sell Alexander Isak for £130 million, let's just say that for now, who on earth would we bring in? In my opinion, there's only, and I'll take my bias hat off for a second, Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe that can score the goals. I'm not saying they're better players. Erling Haaland isn't a better player for me. Kylian Mbappe overall is just a better player. Them 2 players there are going to cost you more than £130 million, especially, of course, since Erling Haaland is a direct rival from Man City in the Premier League. Kylian Mbappe, of course, is going to Real Madrid. They're not going to sell him whatsoever. So if we were to sell Isak, we genuinely can't replace him. He's genuinely that good, and we've never been in that situation before, which is certainly bizarre for us Newcastle fans. And something that was also reported quite a while ago now, and I haven't made a video on it because it's kind of a peculiar thing just to make a whole specific 8-minute long video on, but I will include it into this one. Arsenal can, of course, they've been linked with Bruno Guimaraes as well. They can genuinely not afford either Bruno, who has a reported £100 million release clause, which is only valid to the end of June, by the way, and of course Alexander Isak, who obviously is above £100 million in today's day and age. Arsenal can't spend £100 million due to their financial fair play and PSR regulations, both domestically and in terms of hitting UEFA's rules, means Arsenal Football Club spending £100 million before the end of the financial year is impossible. Arsenal cannot afford Alexander Isak or Bruno Guimaraes. Now, we'll take Bruno out of the conversation because, of course, that release clause is a whole different conversation in itself. But Alexander Isak, this man's not going anywhere. I've seen the talks of the likes of Chelsea wanting him, Manchester United wanting him. Of course, them teams could offer Alexander Isak a hell of a lot of money on wages, but why on earth would he jump ship to Chelsea and Manchester United, who, by the way, are currently below us at this time of recording? Fingers crossed they will be by the end of the season as well. Oh my god, we need Europe for keeping these likes of the players as well. But look, we have got a much better model and a much better rebuild and a much better project than these two teams there. We are the richest football team, richest football club in the world. Our vision is a lot longer than them teams, by the way. There's no way in hell they jump ship to the car crashes of Chelsea and Man United, who completely overpay for players and just don't have any vision at all. They just buy these names and they don't glue them together. They are become the kind of new Paris Saint-Germains. And people have spoken about overseas teams like Barcelona, who, by the way, your likes of your Barcelonas, Juventus and Inter Milans, them teams there are heavily and financially in debt. There's no way in hell they could afford the amount of money that Alexander Isak would cost them and would spur up for Newcastle United. And also, there's been a big one about Real Madrid. Let's be real, it's arguably the biggest team in the world, the most renowned team, the most worldwide known team in the world. They are absolutely fantastic on the Real Madrid. Honestly, I really do like them as a club, as many people do admire them, but there's no way Alexander Isak would go there. Only once have Real Madrid actually spent over £100 million. 3 times they've spent over €100 million, but just once over £100 million. That was Eden Hazard. We all know how that went. He got overweight and barely ever played for them, got injured all of the time. So they will be quite sceptical spending that sort of money. And by the way, they never spend that kind of money either. If you go and look for a team who, by the way, have won over 10 Champions Leagues and absolutely dominated Spanish football for decades and decades, you would think they'd absolutely buy the glory, like Man City, for example. They haven't whatsoever. They've actually done unbelievable business. Your likes of your Brazilians, what they always get. So there's no way Alexander Isak would go to Real Madrid, not to even mention Mbappe's joining Real Madrid, so they don't need another striker, especially spending 100 million on another one. But all in all, this guy has been on absolute fire, and oh my god, he's staying at Newcastle United. He's going to get a new contract here, and of course, he said quite a while ago that he's here at Newcastle United for the project, and he's certainly looking forward to it. He's been on fire this season. 37 appearances and 24 goals, of course in all competitions, but 27 appearances in the Premier League and 20 goals as well. All in the meanwhile, by the way, missing 7 games through 2 groin injuries, which is a little bit of a downside to Alexander Isak's game. But look, you never know. Pre-season, get him sort of rested. We'll have Callum Wilson. Fingers crossed we can get another backup striker. That means we won't have to play him every single game. Yet again, minimalising the risk of getting injured at Newcastle United. And the quality as well. Of course, 20 goals in the Premier League this season. The quality and the service has not even been there for Isak. If you look behind the likes of, I don't know, Erling Haaland, you've got Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden on the left or right to him, Kevin De Bruyne, for example. Like, these players are world-class players. Alexander Isak this season. Jacob Murphy, who, by the way, can whip a fantastic bowling, but he could ghost for 70 minutes. Miguel Almiron, who only has 12 assists and 206 appearances for Newcastle United. That's a terrible stat, by the way. I believe he'll be out the door for Newcastle United next season. And by the way, Gordon has got 10 assists just this season. That really puts that in a context, doesn't it? But look, Alexander Isak's had service off the likes of Sean Longstaff, Elliot Anderson, Lewis Miley, who are them 2 players, by the way, Lewis Miley and Elliot Anderson, I think have been fantastic this season. They've definitely stepped up the game, but they've not been given that service to Alexander Isak, which he does need. This guy's been plucking goals out of thin air. Honestly, he can switch the game on its head as well. Example, Sheffield United at home at St James's Park. They go 1-0 up and they are the better team. It's one ball through from Jacob Murphy to Alexander Isak. The guy scores a goal and the game's on its head. It's Newcastle United's game to win now. He's absolutely unbelievable. But look, we're going to wrap the video up there, ladies and gentlemen. Alexander Isak is set to agree a new contract with Newcastle United in the next couple of weeks, and it looks like he's staying on Tyneside. So without further ado, I've been Geordie Josh. Go and enjoy your day, people.